My name is Marko Mazepa, and I'm a Ukrainian refugee residing in Bulgaria. My Peace times X is Peace X Gaming. Imagine the story of a war hero, someone who comes back home and greeted with flowers, happy shouts, and a golden medal for their service, courage, and most importantly, killing the enemy. In Ukraine, I read those stories, whether people come back alive or posthumously, every day. And there are more and more war heroes, but not enough talk about those behind the scenes, trying to cultivate peace inside ourselves and also in our communities. The story of a peace hero and the cycle of his life is not as well known because they work to reconcile differences that people do not want to give up. In Ukraine, whether it be speaking Russian or Ukrainian, or having a different ethnicity, or having a slightly different accent from the mainstream, this will be a huge social issue. And it doesn't only extend to Ukraine, it extends to the whole of Eastern Europe. I vividly remember walking into a museum in Warsaw, a Pauline museum on the Jewish history during the Second World War, and seeing an expo on wargaming, where youth would learn how to become a war hero, dress up as one, and fight the enemy. In Russia alone, 2.5 billion Russian rubles were invested into war-glorifying video games, and already 18,000 soldiers were recruited through video gaming shooters, and thus creating an environment where a war hero is an extremist recruited through gamification of violence. I believe that a war hero story should be preserved for history and for improving ourselves so that we can become peace heroes. And how do we do that? A practical way is to create simulation games and ceasefire negotiations through which students at universities, undergraduate level, graduate, postgraduate, could learn about negotiations, how to read the room, how to have the emotional intelligence to work with those who we want to reconcile differences with across the globe. I would start with 3 universities, American University in Bulgaria, where I did my bachelor's, and where I'm doing my master's, College of Europe, which is based in Albania, in Poland, and in Belgium, across 3 campuses, and Tufts University, where I'm going next year, in Boston, USA. I'll also want to extend this to the Harvard Ukrainian Research Institute and the MIT, also based in Boston, so that I could work with them on designing the best way possible to create peace-building exercises for university students of all levels. And across different disciplines, not just those who would be doing European studies or political science, but even an engineer could join, or someone doing IT, to develop their soft skill and understanding of the war and peace. I also want to make an academic contribution by publishing my research on the gamification of violence and associated extremism with it through the Harvard Ukrainian Research Institute, Tufts University, and I also want to work with the Royal United Services Institute for Defense and Security Studies, from which one of my professors would be able to provide me with resources for publications. I believe that this is a scalable idea because I can start with just these campuses to test out peace-building negotiations and how they go and how people work with across different cultures, religions, and traditions, know how to approach negotiations and ceasefires, and then scale it to Eastern European Partnership countries. That will be including Ukraine, Moldova, Belarus, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Georgia. I already worked with Mohammad Fayouzi, UNICEF representative in Libya and before that in Iran, and Mariana Katsarova, UN representative on Russian human rights, to figure out how these games would go And I plan to work with the UNESCO chair on refugee integration through education, language, and arts, based in the University of Glasgow, to work out with them how they have done before and how we can move forward. I believe that peace gaming is the key to building a better future where people can learn from each other how to solve problems through dialogue rather than conflict. Thank you for your attention.